Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In the story, 33-year-old couple, living a nomadic life on a farm, faced a shocking betrayal when he discovered her in the shower with the farmer. She didn't consult him about the situation and seemed open to more intimate involvement with the farmer. Distraught, the man chose to leave, giving her an ultimatum. 2 years later, she contacted him, struggling to maintain the farm after the farmer's heart attack. However, he refused to help, feeling the pain of her earlier betrayal. Eventually, she ended up in prison for financial theft related to the farmer's resources. The man moved on and found happiness elsewhere. Now let's get into the story. I, 33, came home from work one day extra filthy. Usually, I managed to stay pretty clean, even though I worked on a farm. My wife, 30, and I were sort of hippies, living from place to place and depending on the generosity of strangers. We loved life and would work hard at whatever opportunity we found together. You'd be surprised at how generous and kind some people will be to others. The media likes to label everyone terrible, and even though my story kind of does make my wife seem like a terrible person, that's not what I want to focus on. We both volunteered to work hard on this guy's farm in exchange for a place to stay and warm meals. The hard work was easy when it came to riding the horses. My wife and I loved that time and experience. Scooping the droppings was a little less desirable, but all worth it. Feeding the animals was great fun. Anyway, that day I fell into a mud by the pigs. I came in a little early to shower, and didn't see the farmer or my wife anywhere. That was pretty normal because he would work in his office or be outside somewhere fixing something. I heard the shower running, so I assumed my wife was in it. I saw her silhouette when I walked in. I got naked prepared to freak her out by giving her a muddy hug, but then I saw a second silhouette. I whipped open the shower curtain to find her standing in the steaming shower with the farmer. I screamed and asked what was happening. She said she didn't think it was too big a deal for him to ask her to shower with him. I was stunned. Yes, we were staying with this guy, and yes, we were free thinkers, but she didn't ask me or tell me about it, and it felt like there was something more going on. The farmer apologized to me and said if I wasn't cool with it, it wouldn't happen again. I said it was strange, and since I wasn't told about it, I felt weird. When my wife and I were alone, I told her I wanted to leave. She said she didn't think we needed to, and really liked the setup we had there. Of course, she did. I felt like I was fuming when I asked her if he ever asked her for intimacy. She said he hinted towards it in the shower, but she wouldn't do it unless I was involved. She probably didn't realize how much this bothered me. I told her I couldn't stand the thought of sharing her, even if I was there. She looked disappointed, and that killed me. I asked her if she was really looking forward to sleeping with another person, and she said she wasn't sure about other people, but she liked the idea of doing it with the farmer since he was helping us out. I told her I had to leave, and if she didn't want to come with me, I'd consider our relationship over. She thought about it for a minute, then offered me some time away to find myself with the possibility of me returning to her and the farmer whenever I was ready. This was disgusting and painful. I left without another word to or from either of them. Fast forward 2 years. My ex randomly contacted me. I couldn't believe it, and I hesitated to read her message. It said that she was still living on the same farm, but 5 months ago, the farmer had a heart attack. He was in the hospital in critical condition, and she hadn't been able to keep up with all the farm work, hospital bills, and business expenses. Her name wasn't on anything, so she couldn't legally access his funds or do anything without him. She wasn't sure how she could stay at the farm for much longer and didn't have money to get very far. I told her to find someone else to ask for charity. She broke my heart and went behind my back, then chose someone she barely knew over me. I thought we were lifelong partners that lived free while remaining loyal. She betrayed me and didn't care when I left. I told her it took me a long time to recover from that breakup, and only just now started to find a good place in life. She wasn't going to ruin it for me. I hung up. I got a voicemail from her a year later, explaining that she had my number memorized and was calling me from prison. She was charged with identity and financial theft, since she resorted to acting as the farmer by authorizing payments on his cards and selling some of his animals. When he recovered from his hospitalization, he kicked her out and reported her to the police for buying herself a car with his money, selling his property without permission, and signing his name on legal documents. It was bad. Although our relationship was never romantic again, we did keep in touch from across the country. I finally settled down, got a steady job, and remarried. Everything worked out for the best, even though I had to go through a bit of heartbreak. Here are my thoughts on the situation. I'm sorry to hear about your wife's actions and the challenges they brought. It seems that her decision to betray you ultimately led to difficult circumstances, including having to assume a different identity for her own survival. It's possible that she might have avoided such a predicament if she had remained loyal and committed to your relationship. Marriage is typically viewed as a partnership where both parties share a clear understanding of their commitment. While the specifics of a marriage can vary from one couple to another, honesty and compatibility are usually fundamental reasons why people come together in the first place. Your wife didn't operate as a loyal and respectful wife, and it's quite possible she needed to go through the consequences she met in life. Today's second story. This is a story of a turbulent relationship that led to divorce. OP met their soon-to-be ex-wife at a young age, and they faced numerous challenges over the years. Despite periods of separation, they reunited, got married, and initially enjoyed a good marriage. However, their careers took a toll on the relationship. The wife's growing closeness to a coworker raised suspicions of infidelity, leading to confrontations. After confessing to cheating, the wife's involvement with an older man and financial commitments deepened the rift. The husband grappled with hurt, confusion, and feelings of manipulation. Eventually, he filed for divorce, seeking support from his family and securing his financial interests. Now let's get into the story. Wife cheated on me and we are divorcing, hurt and confused. I'll start by saying that at this point, I know my only option here is to go through with the divorce and leave my soon-to-be ex-wife, for reasons which will be very clear. But I'm still reeling from the pain she put me through and I'm very lost at the moment. Some backstory. I met my soon-to-be ex-wife when I was 17 and she was 16. We started dating in early 2016 and hit it off from there. We quickly escalated into seeing each other all the time and working together. Eventually, I moved in with her family and stayed with them for a good 2 years. During this time, I fell in love with my soon-to-be ex-wife. She came off as confident, feisty, and caring. It always felt like she had always done whatever it took to make her family and me happy. Just as well. I became very close with her family and know her sisters, mother, and grandmother very well as a few of her cousins and uncles. Of course, living together at a young age probably wasn't the best decision, and we did fight. A lot of it had to do with the fact that I was living with her family. But of course, working for $10 an hour part-time is no way to move out or even get a vehicle. Of course, I tried my best to keep her happy, going as far as to keep changing jobs and pulling out loans, but it would always be something between us. We did love each other, I know that, but she would be constantly upset that we still lived with the family. Eventually, we split 18 and didn't see each other for about 8 months. She took it very hard at first, but I was adamant that we had a toxic relationship and needed a break. During this time, she dated other men and worked on her career. As for me, I enrolled in college where I'm about to earn my associates and I'm taking work seriously and have now landed my dream job as of last week. As a result of this, I want to make this clear because I feel we both bettered ourselves and became more mature people during our time apart and is one of the reasons why I wanted to try with her again. Another thing to remember is that during all of this, her family as well as mine still continued to hope we would work things out. Yes, even as she dated other people, which we thankfully did. We reconciled and got an apartment together and eventually got married in December of 2019. I was so happy I cried in front of all of our family, and even now thinking about it makes me want to cry. At first, things were great. Intimacy was amazing, we communicated fairly well and continued to pursue our individual careers. However, it was after we both got new jobs that our relationship changed. Back in July of this year, I got a job as a correctional officer at a detainment center near where I live. It was hard, my anxiety was off the charts and I had regular panic attacks daily. My soon-to-be ex-wife, on the other hand, had just been in a car accident with her brand new truck where it was totaled, and was of course hurt by it. Needless to say, we had trouble. Her seemingly normal, caring attitude became one of bitterness and anger. When I would talk to her about my anxiety, she would tell me things like you need to get over it or you're a grown man, stop crying or you're being a beep, things like that. And it was very hurtful. I tried to be available to her as well, but working constant 12-hour shifts in overtime made that hard. And yes, we fought, never violent, but we would talk for hours about the same things over and over. Despite this, I still felt my soon-to-be ex-wife loved me and was just going through a lot. I eventually did conquer my anxiety and now work my dream job in it. However, my soon-to-be ex-wife started getting closer to another coworker to cope. At least that's what I assume. At first, it was innocent enough just working together, texting, the occasional call, and it never bothered me. Then she escalated things and started seeing him every day after work for breakfast. She works nights and seeing him constantly. She would ask me not to talk when she was on the phone with him because then he wouldn't talk as she said. I didn't like it, but I trusted my wife nonetheless. Eventually, I confronted her about the relationship to which she said they were just friends. However, she would not text me, ignored my calls, and sometimes would stay the night without letting me know. This all came ahead when she stayed all day and night with him and didn't come home or communicate at all. She admitted that she didn't see my calls the next morning, but only after pushing did some other details come out. From what I understand, she not only ignored my calls, but got drunk with him as well as other people who were there. She apparently tried to walk out naked, to which he supposedly pulled her by the arm violently and told her don't be an effing stupid, what are you doing? Supposedly she didn't see my calls because he put her phone on silent, to which he denies doing. She still claims till this day that they didn't sleep together, but of course I don't believe it. I tried for about 2 days to ask her to be honest with me and cut off contact with this man, but she refused, almost crying when I asked her to and saying he'd be hurt by that. I felt hurt and was angry that she could just leave me behind so easily. So I left and stayed at my parents' for a week. She did text me constantly, asking for me to come home, but I kept telling her to cut contact with him, to which she didn't. She even tried faking it, but still contacted him. I know this because I paid her phone bill and would see his number on there constantly. I eventually did come back to her under the pretense we would work something out, but that's where things went downhill. In that 1 week I was gone. She got a brand new truck with him, pulled out a $10,000 loan with him, and even opened a utility bill for him under her name. In addition, he was at our apartment constantly and she stayed with him constantly. I was hurt, but, and I regret this very much, still tried to work things out. That was perhaps the hardest week of my life. My soon-to-be ex-wife, someone who I had loved and been with for years, told me she doesn't love me and never loved me, said me asking her to be with me was pathetic and that I disgusted her. I was broken, I wanted to end my life. I called her mom, her husband cheated on her and asked for advice. I know this was wrong, but I had no one to turn to and felt more alone than I had ever been. Eventually, I permanently moved back in with my parents and told her was leaving for good. Suddenly her attitude changed and she said she wanted me back and didn't want to lose me. I was happy and regretfully talked to her. This lasted only for one night. Again I tried to ask her why she felt the need to cheat instead of talking to me about it, but she got angry saying I needed to let it go and move on already. Keep in mind it had only been 1 day since she admitted to cheating. It's not perfect and I feel anyone else in my situation would have wanted honesty and closure too. Her family agrees on this as well and has tried talking to her to only be told the same things. This on-off relationship we had continued for a week with her just constantly saying I don't know what I want. She blamed me for the cheating saying it was because I left and she had no choice, to which I called BS. The last time I spoke with her was Sunday, October 24th, and it did not go well. Her grandfather is currently in the hospital and I went to support the family. She showed up in the truck with this man and her entire family was upset me. Her sister and her sister's boyfriend sat and talked with my soon-to-be ex-wife and this man and he blew us off and treated it like a joke, saying things just happened. And that's why he is with my soon-to-be ex-wife, saying he knows we don't like him, yet constantly disrespecting us. My soon-to-be ex-wife meanwhile barely said a word and let him mock us and lie to us. Eventually, Her sister, who wanted me to keep trying to talk to my soon-to-be ex-wife, told me she wasn't worth it and disowned her right in front of me. My soon-to-be ex-wife now blames me for this, saying it's my fault her family doesn't like her anymore and that they'll never accept this guy because of me, and that was that. I stayed with the family for a while, and they all told me they loved me and felt sorry for me and didn't understand how she could do this, but that they supported me no matter what. Now for the kicker. So a little info about this guy. He is 39 years old. Yeah, that's right. From what I can understand, he is manipulative, abusive, and doesn't like for her to see me or her family. I have not seen him hurt her, but I have heard him over the phone cuss at her and tell her inappropriate things. When her family do get in contact with her, he will purposely be loud over the phone, chime in with nonsense, and constantly talk over her very childish things. She had admitted that he purposely eggs me on in the hopes that I will do something so he can get me arrested. This man also has a daughter, my soon-to-be ex-wife's age, and still finds it okay. Needless to say, he's no good. Throughout all of this, I have experienced a roller coaster of emotions. I feel inadequate, a lot, hurt, scared, and angry. I don't understand why my soon-to-be ex-wife cheated on me and why with someone who abuses her. Yet I still feel like I want her and want to help her. I know that's a fantasy now, but I can't help it. I'm also afraid of if maybe she's right. What do you guys think? Am I wrong for being hurt by her cheating? Do I manipulate her family by going to them for support? Is this all my fault? Like my wife says, I just don't know. TLDR, soon-to-be ex-wife cheated with a 39-year-old man and blames me and says I manipulated her family into hating her. Did you do something wrong? Edit, wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, past tense. Update. I have filed for divorce paperwork and it has been accepted by the court. I am making arrangements to have the paper served while she's at work. Some people are asking and wondering about assets, my legal responsibility with what she's got going on with her affair partner. We have nothing together. Nothing. Our banks, vehicles, anything of significant value is separate, so there should be no need or risk of me losing anything. Additionally, the things she's co-signing with her affair partner do not have my name listed or otherwise mentioned at all, so I have no legal standing there either. As for the phone bill, it's under my name. I simply cut her line. I have contacted her family and let them know I am taking a step back from them for now, which they agree is the best solution. As of right now, I'm seeing all of this with a much clearer head, and I'm happier even now without her. Being with my family again is great as well. They're incredibly happy to have me at the house again, and I'm happy to have positive company around for change once all the paperwork is served and ready. I simply need to wait out the waiting period and can finalize everything. Thank you all so much for the advice. It's been a wild ride, but I know things can only get better from here.